Da, 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 da. Friday is here. Hi. Welcome to the Friday morning show with Deanna. Oh, I just love Friday mornings. It has become so much more fun because of this show. So thank you to you for tuning in and being a part of this. Because while I could just continue to do this even if nobody watched, it's just not as fun. So thank you for joining me week after week. I love seeing your comments. I love those of you who are watching the replays and doing hashtag replay because I get to come back and hang out with you. So yay, thank you for that. Go ahead and do it right now. And if you're here with me live, comment in and say good morning. Say hello. How are you feeling today? I would love to know what's going on for your morning. Are you at home? Are you at work? What you got going on? Share with me, okay? This morning we have a really incredible topic. It came to me this morning in my meditation. These are the four the most transformational mindset techniques or practices or things that I do that have made massive changes in my life. So I'm going to share all four of them with you today, and they are simple but so good. And that's kind of the way I work. All the tools and all the techniques that I share are generally quite simple and quite basic, and yet they make massive differences and results in your life. So yay. Those of you who are here with me live, comment in, who are you, where are you watching from, how are you feeling today, okay? And those of you watching the replay, you know how it goes, hashtag replay. Hi Marianne, good morning to you. How are you feeling today? I have some notes because I have a couple things that I want to check out. Number one, while all of your comments are coming in, if you are not already in the Empowered Woman Collective, it's the Facebook group that I have on Facebook. It's open for women to join. It's a really inclusive, beautiful space. If you're not already in there, I have some upcoming trainings that I'm putting together that I'll be doing for free in the Empowered Woman Collective. So get your booty over to that Facebook group so that you can be a part of those trainings, okay? They're coming up before Christmas, so go ahead and get yourself in there. And did you know that I, I guess, have a podcast, and B, or two, that I'm doing a podcast challenge for all of November. So for anybody that listens to any of my podcast episodes, if you screenshot, share it somewhere on social media, tag me in your post, and share your top 3 takeaways from that podcast episode, you're entered to win my Master Intuitive 3-part video training that teaches you how to use your intuition for more easeful decision making to release stress and anxiety from your life. Pretty simple, right? You do a couple shares on Facebook and Instagram, boom, you get some free training. So that's the podcast challenge that's happening. And just because it's Friday and it's super fun, I thought, why don't we just add in this video? So for those of you who are in the podcast challenge, I'm tracking everyone who's in it. Go ahead and also share this video right now and do the exact same thing. Tag me, share your 3 takeaways, and I'm gonna add that as another entry into this challenge for the month of November, okay? Got it? Yeah? Any questions? Comment them in, tag me in it. Hi Jessica, morning to you, how are you doing? Who else is here with me? Comment in, ladies, and let me know, where are you watching from? You can tell me your town, you can tell me if you're on the couch or if you're in bed, wherever you are, let me know. What else do I have on there? Nope, I think that's it, okay. Yeah. So before I share with you these 4 mindset techniques and how they've made these big changes in my life and how you can use them starting today to make these changes, it helps for me to break down these 4 pillars of personal mastery, which is something that I introduced at the conference a couple weeks ago. You can also listen to this on my podcast, the one that I shared on Wednesday of this week, so 2 days ago. It's called 4 Pillars of Personal Mastery. I go significantly more in depth about each of them in that podcast episode. So if you want to go listen to that after, go ahead. But I'm just going to walk you through them really briefly and then share with you the mindset techniques. Okay? Good? Yeah? Can someone give me a dancing girl? I feel like there's quite a few of you hanging out with me and I'm just not seeing any comments come in. Come on, give me some love. You know this dancing girl? She's in that beautiful red dress. Which, by the way, look at how cute I look. I decided to wear a dress today because, well, I cranked the heat so it's warm enough. And it's Friday. Why not? Why not wear something beautiful even though it's about to snow outside? Why not feel sexy and lovely and amazing in my dress? And so I did. Thank you, Jessica. I love the dancing girl. Amazing. Okay, if you're watching, give me some dancing girl emojis or maybe some hands up. Okay? Okay, so the 4 pillars of personal mastery are physical well-being, emotional resiliency, mental clarity, and spiritual awakening. So each of these 4 mindset techniques I'm going to share with you are based on those principles as well. So physical well-being, we all know how important it is to make sure that we're caring about our bodies, but what's important about this is that it's not so your body looks a certain way or even feels a certain way. It's that your body is a vessel for you to experience life. And if you're not caring for it, then you are doing yourself a disservice because you cannot experience life fully. If your body is in chronic pain, if your body is in chronic exhaustion, if your body is in chronic digestive discomfort, you're not able to pick up on all those intuitive pieces of life that you would if you were at your most physical well-being best. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is emotional resiliency. This is so good. I really experienced this last night. I had some emotions and some fears and some judgments come up, and I got to go through my own process with this. Emotional resiliency is your ability to process your emotions in a healthy way. So it's not about stuffing them down like most of us women have done for the majority of our lives and most are still doing today. No stuffing, bad stuffing, no. And not allowing them to run your life. So not just like in any situation, just walking into it and you can't help it and suddenly you're just bawling your eyes out and you fall down to the floor because you're overwhelmed because you don't know how to handle it. It's about being somewhere in the middle and having that resiliency to know that you have a safe and sacred place to express your emotions when they come up, and that you can manage yourself so that you can still exist within the society that we live in today without being a crumbling, crying mess every moment. Yeah? So that's emotional resiliency. Mental clarity, I was thinking a lot about this morning in my, I did a little bit of yoga and sort of like fluid movement before my meditation, and there was a lot of this happening. My hands just kept going here. And to me, that meant really getting clear on that third eye. And the third eye chakra is really about seeing the truth, removing the veils and the layers and seeing the truth of life. And mental clarity is the same concept as ego versus observer, which is what I've taught with a lot of you who have been in any of my programs. Ego is that part of us that is like, I'm not good enough, I'll never amount to anything, even if I try, it's not going to happen, I can't commit, etc., etc. And observer is that expansive openness, being willing to see the full picture, the truth with the capital T. What is real in this moment? Not our emotions, not our personality, but the truth of the moment. Okay? Hi Taylor, good morning to you. And then the final one is spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is about the fact that as a collective society, a lot of us are either full on deep in a religion, which is beautiful, or full on against everything that has to do with spirituality. But the thing is, if you're not exploring what this means to you, if you're not opening yourself up to the guidance that lives within you, to the guidance you can receive from God or universe or the divine, if you're not exploring this or even open to considering it, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to find your happiness, your fulfillment, your joy, your peace, your purpose. I can guarantee you that this will happen. And it's just about shifting your perspective to be open. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make any actions. You just have to be open to see what is there in front of you. Where is the magic in the world? And a lot of times this happens for us in nature. And so even without taking specific action towards this, just spend more time in nature. You'll start noticing a bit of that magic around you. Claudia, you love my top. Thank you. Well, if you missed it before, I'll show you now. It's a dress. I was very excited wearing a dress today, even though it's cold and winter. So thank you. Okay, physical well-being, emotional resiliency, mental clarity, I can't count, and spiritual awakening. Those are the 4 pillars of personal mastery. Now, you've probably seen a couple posts and things of me talking about a program coming up in January 2020. This is the foundational work that we're going to go through for the 6 months of that program. So everything we do comes back to these 4 pillars. Okay? Now, who here would like to know some of these mindset techniques that I have created and used and have been doing in my life for years that have changed me? Like changed my life. Who wants to hear them? I'm not going to say anything until you comment. Come on, give me something good. Give me some, hey, like, you know that girl like me? Give me that one. I like that one. Oh, Taylor, you like my dress? Thanks. Yeah, it's really soft too. It feels good. So, who wants to know? Come on, comment in, share me. Maybe, where's that? There's the girl with her hand up. What about the girl with her hair? Like, hey, yeah, I'm into it. I could hear some of that. Maybe the monkey with his hands over his ears, just for fun because it's kind of the opposite. Jessica, yay. Taylor, yay. Okay, good. Those of you watching the replay, I want you commenting it as well so I can come back and join with you. Susan, hi Susan, yay. Claudia, yay. Oh yeah, you got this one, nice. Marianne, I do, yay. Okay, good. See, this is so much more fun when you comment. It feels like we're actually together instead of me talking to my phone surrounded by the circle light thing that I've got going on. It's way more fun to connect. Okay, let me see. Let me just assess my notes here. 1 second, please. Oh yes, very good. Yes. The first one is within the realm of physical well-being. How many of you, I want you to comment in, how many of you have tried to commit to a physical well-being goal, whether that's exercise or food or sleep or whatever it is? How many of you have tried to commit to something or did commit and you kind of failed and you didn't follow through and you sort of felt crappy about it? And you ended up feeling like, why would I ever try again since I never seem to continuously commit to something that's good for my body? Who has ever experienced that in their life? I've experienced it like a million times. Anybody else? Anyone? Am I alone in this situation? I don't think so. When it comes to our bodies and our physical well-being, we know what we need. It's not a question. I don't need to stand here and tell you things that you should be doing to feel good in your body. You know what they are. But why do we not commit? Or if we do commit, why do we end up failing? What is that about, right? Yeah, Jess says, yep, for sure. And then Taylor did yoga for 90 days but didn't keep it up. And 90 days is an incredible and amazing commitment. And then there's a thing, you think, well, now that I've made this commitment, I'll keep going, right? And you just assume that will happen. Susan, hand up, yep. Marianne, yep, that's me, yeah. So when it comes to physical well-being, the mindset shift that I've changed for myself, and this might not be for everybody, but what I've done is I only commit to accessible goals. So for me, and I do this a lot with my clients, so if we work together, you've probably had this experience. If I'm going to commit to, let's say I'm going to go for a walk every single day. This is my commitment. I'm going for a walk every single day. Instead of saying to myself, I'm going to do this for a month, or I'm going to do this for 6 months, or I'm going to do this for the entire year, because a lot of us like to think that way, like, this is what I'm committed to and I'm going to do it. Instead of that, I say I'm going to commit to this for this week, or I'm going to commit to doing it 3 times within this week and I get to choose when I do it. Or I'm going to commit to every single day of this week, but I get to choose what time of day it's going to be. And so I create these super manageable goals for myself, and within the goal is space for fluidity. So let's just say one day I feel terrible, or it's so friggin' cold outside there's no chance I'm going for a walk. Then maybe I take 2 walks the next day. Or maybe I've done it so it's going to be 3 days within that week, so then I choose a different day to go. It's about creating space for you to feel like you've achieved something. Because so many of us set goals that are huge and lofty and over there, and then when we don't achieve them, we feel like crap, right? And that doesn't feel good. And if you feel like crap, you're not likely to make a new goal or to find a new way to get to it. So create accessible and manageable goals for yourself, one piece at a time. So for that example of like setting a goal of going for a walk every day for a week, awesome, I'll do that. At the end of the week, I check in and assess, how do I feel? Is this something I want to continue? Yeah, actually, it felt really good. My body's feeling great. I'm getting more time outside. Dixie really loves it. Okay, I'll commit for another week. And I keep it small and manageable. So 1 more week, 1 more week, 1 more week, as opposed to 6 months, 3 months, whatever it is. I allow myself to move in that direction so that I know that I can keep checking in with me, okay? Taylor, I like that, breaking it down and having it be manageable and realistic. Absolutely. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. If you guys have any, if you've tried that before, if you have any ideas around it. Some people do really well with setting massive goals, and even if they don't achieve it, but they still get further than they thought they would, that feels really good for them. That does not feel good for me. If I set a goal here and I make it to here, to me, I posted about this on my personal page the other day, to me that's a fail. And I'm working on that. I'd like to shift that. But while I'm working through that, I need to set manageable goals that are accessible and realistic for me in the now, because I need to celebrate. If I'm not celebrating the success I'm creating in my life and the progress that I'm making and how good I feel, it's harder for me to stay upbeat. So give it a try. I'd love to know, what is something that you're willing to commit to from here until a week from now. What's one thing? One thing for your physical well-being. Share it right now. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's coming to my belly fit class if you live in 100 Mile. Maybe it is choosing to drink 3 massive, big bottles of water every single day. Maybe it's getting to bed by 9 p.m. Maybe it's waking up a half hour earlier. Whatever it is, share with us now what's something that you're willing to commit to for the next week. Or 3 days, whatever feels good for you for your physical well-being, okay? Jessica, walks with my puppy dogs. Absolutely. And they love it too. And then you get to be in nature, which taps into that spiritual awakening, and it just feels good for our bodies. So that's beautiful. I love that, Jess. Yay. Keep sharing them in. Another beautiful thing about when you do comment in your goals is you're making it more real. You're feeling, even though there isn't necessarily the accountability, like I'm not going to check up on you. I mean, maybe I will. Who knows? But even though that's not there, just saying it out loud, typing it in a public platform, it makes it more real and you're more committed to it, okay? Claudia, drinking more water throughout the day, especially at work. Yeah, Claudia, that is awesome. I have been committing to that recently, and I've been having 3+ big, huge jugs of water, and it feels great. I love it. Susan, haul in a bag of firewood every day. That's awesome. That's a beautiful way for you to get all that strength in your body. Plus, useful, because you need firewood in. That is fabulous. Oh, I love these. Okay, keep them coming. Okay, so that's mindset tip number 1. And that's for our physical well-being. Next is number 2, and we're coming into emotional resiliency. If you've listened to my podcast, if you've been following me for some time, you know that I am a highly sensitive, emotional person. And I actually had to have a conversation with my lovely dad the other day and say, I hope you know that I'm okay. Like, just because I have emotions doesn't mean that I'm not deeply sad. I just process very openly. And this has been a really important mindset technique for me to create in order for me to exist within today's society and for me to continue to deepen into my personal growth. Because without this tool, without this mindset technique, I can't function. So it's very important to me. So anybody who is quite emotional, or you know that you have a lot of suppressed emotion that you're not allowing to come out, listen up, because this one's a good one for you. Okay, and just before we go into it, Marianne, definitely belly fit, yeah, and getting up for walks with a friend, amazing, love that. And Taylor, yep, belly fit twice a week before next Friday. Yes, good work. I love that. Do you notice how Taylor said how many times and the end date? That's also a really great technique for when you're setting these goals. So Taylor, I was going to say gold star. I don't know how to make a star with my hands. Gold star. Gold star to you. Okay, emotional resiliency. You have to create a safe space to process your emotions. If you don't feel safe anywhere in your life to have your emotions, they will show up in a way that is unfavorable of the outcome that you're seeking. They will show up in you blowing up at your kids. They will show up in you breaking down and bawling your eyes out at work when you get news or information that you didn't want. They will show up when you're drunk off wine and suddenly you're just sobbing all night because you have all these emotions and you're not creating space for you to actually process and release them and allow them to move through you. You have to create sacred space for it. So the reason I say this is a mindset technique is because you have to consciously choose to do it. You can't just say like, yeah, I feel great to express my emotions. No, you got to commit. You got to make this a priority for yourself, because so many of us do not have any space that we actually feel sacred and safe. That's why oftentimes in a yoga class, in the Shavasana at the end, oftentimes we want to bawl our eyes out. We want to let the tears stream because we finally feel a bit safe, because the instructor has been trained in how to hold space for others, because you've just gone through this process of releasing things from your body and it needs to come out. So you need to create space and time for you to process emotions. What does that look like? For me, journaling, sitting quietly by myself, just allowing myself, like even in the bath, if I feel a little bit of emotion, kind of pull it up, allow myself to cry, pull the tears out of myself, allow that to be expressed in that place where I know the door's closed. I know that it's locked, no one's coming in. This is my sacred space. No one else has to know that you're going through this emotional release. No, sometimes in the car is a beautiful place. Put on a song that really touches your heart. Drive down, well, not all of you live in a small town, but I was going to say drive down a dirt road. Or, one time I parked in a parking lot facing the sun and sat in my car and friggin' bawled my eyes out. I didn't care if anyone saw me. It was just how I was feeling. And it's about creating that space where you get to process your emotion, knowing that that's okay, knowing there's nothing wrong with you. When I was bawling my eyes out, yeah, I was upset and in the emotion, but I wasn't judging myself for it. I wasn't telling myself I was a bad person because I had so much emotion. It was literally about processing. Create sacred space for you to allow your emotions to be there. When you do this, it's like you build your emotional resiliency muscle. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty good. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So you build your emotional resiliency muscle, and from there, when you're in situations where it doesn't feel like a safe place for you to process emotion, it's easier for you to kind of like hold it a little bit until you can like scoot off into your place where you're safe and then let it all out. And for some people too, for me, I'm very emotional in terms of sadness. Some people get really aggressive and angry. Perfect, same thing. Go to a boxing class where you can just punch it all out. Go into your room when nobody's home, scream into your pillow, punch your pillow. Go for like some crazy chaotic dance in your living room just to get everything out. Give yourself space to process these emotions. And as I mentioned, this is not just a, cool, I'll do that at some point. No, commit to it this weekend. Create space, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, I don't care. Commit to creating space for you to process anything that you feel and know that that's okay. Know that it's all right that you have those emotions, and this is how we heal. Okay? Taylor says, stomp the shit out of that bathroom. I love that. I've definitely had a lot of crying on the bathroom floor because that's also a place where you can lock the door. And not that I'm not really that concerned about Luke coming in and joining me or knowing what's going on anymore. I used to be, but I'm not now. But sometimes it's just, it feels safer to be with yourself. Another thing is within that, as you start building this muscle, this resiliency muscle, having space with other women where it is positive and supportive and kind is very important. And that's what this conference was all about that we just had. Within a few moments, there were women that had tears streaming down their face because they felt safe. For some of them, for the first time in what feels like forever. When we have a community or a collective of support around us, of women that are not there to bash the others that we're upset about, but are there to help us, lift us up, help hold us while we're in the emotion, that's what creates the change and the shift in our life. So that's step number 2 for that one. Okay. So create sacred space for you to process your emotions, and that will help you with emotional resiliency. Okay. Mental clarity. Okay. So mental clarity is all about like this, for the most part, is our ego. We're constantly in our ego. We've got this little monkey mind that's constantly telling us bad things. We're not good enough. We'll never amount to anything. How come they have that when I want that? All of this like, ugh. When it comes to a situation where you're upset about something and at someone. So let's say someone said something and you're like, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe that happened at work today. That is so out of line. I cannot believe that they did that, said that, experienced that, etc. Oftentimes we want to express that, right? Like we're like, oh, I gotta share this with someone. I'm just so angry. I'm so frustrated. I'm so upset. I'm so hurt. I need to express it. So we often turn to our friends or our partner, and that's who we express it to, which is great. How many of you, and I want you to comment and put a hand up or comment in, how many of you have had a discussion like this where you're like, and then she said this, and I can't believe that she did that, and what do you know, like, who does she think she is? Da 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 da. And the person that you're talking to is basically saying like, yeah, I can't even imagine. That's terrible. Oh, who does she think she is? You should tell her what's up. Da 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 da. And suddenly the person that you're talking with is like completely on your side and really bashing that other person at the same time. How many of you have had that experience? Chances are most of you, but I want to know. Comment in. How many of you have had that experience? Comment in with I have. Say, I have. And if I could type in right now, I would say, I have. And one of the places that I found this the most was with my partner. I noticed that whenever I mean, it makes sense. Whenever I would be frustrated or aggravated or annoyed with someone, he was there to support me and he had my back. And he was like, yeah, I can't even believe that you would consider spending time with that person. And how could they do that? And he was there to support me. Jessica, hand up on both ends. Yeah. I think most of us have had that experience, right? Taylor, I have. Yes. Marianne, yep. 100%. Because as a society, we believe that that's what we need to hear in order to make us feel better, in order to allow us to feel justified. The mindset technique that I'm sharing with you now for mental clarity is to call out your support system when they're doing that and say no. Susan says me too. Yeah. So in this example, I come home and I'm all frustrated because so-and-so did something that I'm upset about, and I'm telling Luke about it and I'm so upset, and his response is, I can't believe that. Like, you shouldn't even be friends with that person. Da 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 da. I started this technique of stopping and saying, you can't do that. You can't tell me that I'm justified in my feelings, because then I'm going to stay in my feelings, and this is not where I want to be. I want to process these emotions and I want to get back to a place of peace. But if my support system is 100% like, rah, rah, let's go against them, how am I gonna process that? How am I gonna come to a place of peace? And the goal in life is to continuously come back to compassion and peace and love, even when we're triggered. So what I started doing was calling out my support system when they were holding me in that light and allowing me to be a bitch about that other person, because I don't think that's fair. I don't care what that person did. Chances are they didn't do it to me, or if they did, they had a reason for it, or there's always this background information that we don't know. And if I allowed myself to get that deeply triggered, it means I got some work to do. So instead of my support system telling me like how terrible these people are and how I should have nothing to do with them, I would much rather have my support system just listen to me until I can get it all out, and then ask me what I think I should do now. Ask me, what next? How do you feel now? Do you think that's true? Why do you think they would have done that? What do you think is really like the deeper meaning underneath this? And having that kind of support while I'm starting to process that emotion and while I'm trying to get out of that trigger and that frustration is monumentous. A huge change to allow me to actually move through it and allow me to then come back to compassion, so I don't have to be mad at that person for that long, because it's not their fault. People do weird things. It's not happening to us. It's happening for us. It's happening so we can see where we have room to heal and grow. You do not have to be mad at somebody else in order to make them suffer for what they've done to you. You have to find, I'm almost feeling quite emotional about this. You have to find the healing within yourself. And they can do what they're going to do what they got to do. They got their journey. What we're doing here, this is about you and your journey. So really asking yourself, where is your support system egging you on and pushing you to keep that energy flowing? And could they perhaps instead hold space for you to process? And even if they don't know how to do that, even just call them out on what they're saying a few times. And like, I can't have you backing me up like this. I need you to help me find my way to peace. And even if they're like, I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know how to do that, that's okay. Then just stop having the conversation. Go to your journal. Go to your sacred space where you process emotion. Go have a shower and just let the water pour down your body and just get that energy out until you can come back to a place of peace. Okay? I saw a couple comments come in, so I'm going to just pop back in. Jessica, this really hits home for me this week. Fabulous. I mean, unfortunate that you've been going through some situations where you're frustrated and triggered, but I'm really glad that this is coming up now, so now you have a bit more support within how to move through that. Hi, Giselle. Taylor, it's like training them to be like, no, let's not go that way. What could be the reason that person acted like that to trigger me? Yes, because as a society, we're so quick to judge others and assume that it's their fault and push all the blame on them. But all that does is keep us in victimhood. It keeps us in victim mindset, and nothing good comes from victim mindset. That's where we're too emotional. That's where we're not connected. That's where we're not thinking up solutions. It's where we're not kind and compassionate. It's just not good. Susan says, sometimes it takes me a couple of days to process and then let it go. Susan, I'm quite similar actually. I really I think things through, and I really need to let it all like percolate and process in my body. And so I used to see that as a downfall, that I can't be like that in the moment. And now I just give myself that space. So for example, the conference happened 2 weeks ago. I have been wanting to send an email and say a whole bunch about the conference since then, but I know myself and how I integrate and how I process emotion and how I process my experiences. So I've given myself that grace of that space, and I just was actually prepping it before the Friday morning show. So that's an example too of just creating that space for ourselves to be who we are instead of trying to be someone we're not. Hi, Raylyn. Giselle, love listening to your talks. Thank you. That's kind. Big, big love to you. I appreciate it. I love that you're here because I love sharing. This is the stuff that I'm thinking about and talking to clients about all the time, and just realize why is this not being shared more publicly? These are tools that can change our life, that will and are changing lives. So let's use them. And speaking of that, should we head on to the fourth one? So that was our mental clarity. So that's creating space in our minds to not be in the ego, come back to compassion and peace. Yeah. And the fourth one, spiritual awakening. Let's see. Let me consult my notes here. It's a very fancy notebook, by the way. I like to do this now. I never used to, but I do this so that I can try to collect my thoughts and have a bit of structure, because I used to just blah, blah, blah all over the place. And I'm finding that having this with the blah, blah, blah seems to be a really good blend. What do you think? Comment in a frog emoji if you agree. Show me a frog if you think that me having a little bit of structure, but also being kind of kooky Deanna, is something that you like. Okay? I want to see some little ribbits. Ribbit. That's the kooky Deanna. Sandy, I will have to rewind. I just got here. Yes, absolutely. We just covered all 3 of the mindset techniques. So we're coming into the 4th, okay? Raylyn says, I've been reflecting on who I have become and who I once was. Triggers still happen, but I'm so proud of myself on the shifts I've had with how I choose to show up in my triggers. Yeah. So, for example, in the Empowered Woman Collective, I shared about my day yesterday and all these amazing connections that I had. So if you're in the collective, you can go read it if you haven't. I had a wonderful day. It was amazing. And then one thing happened in the evening. I saw one post on Facebook from someone in particular that had nothing to do with me. And I was so triggered, and I was pissed, and I was emotional, and I was jealous, and I was angry, and I had all these emotions. I was so upset about it. And then I allowed myself to process. And I journaled, and I did some yoga, and I did some breath work, and I cried, and then Luke came in, and we talked, 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 and we talked. So grateful for him. That's not common for him. That was amazing. And it reminded me that I don't think we will ever reach a point when we're not triggered. I think it will continue to happen because we're human beings and we interact with each other and we get upset. And I think that's fine. The key, as you're saying, Raylyn, is to have the confidence and the trust and the tools to move through those things so that you can trust yourself in those situations, that even if you're triggered, it doesn't define you and you can come back to compassion and peace. Yeah? Thanks for sharing that. Jessica, I got a froggy, Sandy froggy, Raylyn frog. Oh, look at all the frogs. They're so cute. I'm so happy I thought of that. Oh, that's nice. Yay. Okay, fine. We'll do number 4. You guys are the best. So this is for spiritual awakening. Okay. This actually came up with a client yesterday. And yeah, I'm just gonna dive right into it. So, when was the last time you asked yourself what you believe happens after we die? When was the last time you asked yourself what you believe God is, or what it means, or who it is? When was the last time you asked yourself, is there magic in the world? And if so, what is it? When was the last time you considered, what are the stars? What is the universe? These are big, huge questions. But if you're not spending time asking yourself these questions or just considering what your thoughts might be, then you're not getting clear on what your beliefs are. And you don't have to ask these questions and come to a concrete, solid answer, because I don't believe necessarily that there is a concrete, solid answer. I think it is simply a belief, and our beliefs can change over time. But if you're not exploring it, then you're doing yourself such a disservice, because especially if you're exploring spirituality and energy work and connection and the divine and universal consciousness, and you're not exploring these concepts, well, I don't really know what to say about that, but it's not going to help you. So make time in your day. Could be while you're out for a walk. Actually, let it be when you're out for a walk. And walk along the path and notice the trees and notice the grass and notice the leaves falling off the trees and just start wondering what happens when we die. What is God? Do I believe in God? Am I triggered by that term? What was my past like, my childhood growing up with spirituality, religion, energy healing, universal consciousness? Were those words that I knew? Just start getting into what your beliefs are. Now, you do not ever have to have the same belief as anybody else. I don't care who is telling you that you do not. I'm telling you, you don't, okay? So that even includes me. If we are ever going to work together in the future and I'm sharing with you my belief systems, you do not have to adopt those. What you do have to do, this is your personal responsibility, is take in what it is that you're receiving and then reflect on it for yourself. When we go through that reflection phase, when we ask these questions, when we explore, that's when we come to our own belief systems. And it's our belief systems that create our reality and our experience of life. And that is how we do the things. Yeah? Susan, energy of love. Yeah. On my podcast that I shared on Wednesday, I've never actually said this before, but it just came out of me. And I said that I belong to the religion of love. And I do my absolute best to always open my heart to have compassion, love, acceptance of all beings, all creatures, all life force in whatever way that it is. And of course, I mean, it's a religion that I keep practicing, so I'm not fully there yet, but I keep moving towards it. And that no matter what, if I'm coming back to a state of love, seeing through the eyes of love, holding compassion and peace in my heart, as long as I'm spreading more love than pain or hurt or frustration into the world, I believe that I'm doing the absolute best that I can do as a human being at this point in time. Taylor, yeah, self-discovery. And the thing is, you don't have to go down the crazy rabbit hole, and you don't have to get, like, I used to never think about the universe or space or stars because it's so vast and it's so hard for me to comprehend. But if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking at where you're unsure or confused or don't know, then you're allowing that blind spot to be in your life. And as you start exploring soulful manifestation or energy healings, it makes more sense if you know your beliefs around it. Yeah? Sandy, I love that analogy. Religion of love. That should be universal. Yeah, I agree. I think it is. I think energetically it is. Perhaps, I'm sure someone's come up with that term before, but I'm gonna coin it for now. It feels pretty good. For those of you that are curious about planets, stars, the universe, Earth, etc., Luke and I watched a series on Netflix called One Strange Rock, I think it's One Strange Rock. Can someone type that in, please? One Strange Rock on Netflix. And it's hosted by Will Smith, whom I love. He's awesome. He's so funny. And which is also weird. But anyways, Will Smith is the host, and it's with, I think, 12 different astronauts who have spent a collective of like multiple years in space. And it's their reflections of the Earth from space, as well as how the Earth started. So what happened in the planets, in the universe for Earth to come to fruition? How is there water? How is there life? All of these things. It's so fascinating. So if you're curious about those things, I'd highly recommend it. Can someone type that in for me, please? One Strange Rock on Netflix. And even that in itself, if you can watch that with your partner or a friend or your kids, it will stimulate discussion. It will stimulate these types of conversations. And I think it's so valuable to have those. Even if you don't know your answer, that's okay. That's totally fine. You do not have to have an answer, but be willing to explore it. So the fourth mindset technique for spiritual awakening is just exploring this, is creating that space and that time in your discussions, in your conversations, in your journaling, in your, like, just your thought process, in your meditations, to see what does this mean to you. Okay. Thank you, Taylor, for commenting that in. Okay. So that's all four. Two things before we go. Okay. First, if you didn't watch the beginning of this video, go back and watch it, because then you'll get all four of these techniques. But also, I shared with you, if you're doing the podcast challenge of November and sharing my podcast, we've also included this video in all the Friday morning shows. So if you also share the Friday morning shows that make a difference to you, including this one, tag me in it, and then also comment the 3 biggest takeaways you got from it, you will have another entry into the podcast challenge, okay? And number 2, the second thing is, I don't remember. Oh, there it is. Got it. From these 4 mindset techniques, they're pretty broad, they're fairly different. I want you to comment in right now which one feels like, oh, that's the one that I need to start with. That's the one I need to take action on. That's the one I need to bring all my energy and focus into right now. Comment it in, right meow. Put it in the comments. I don't know if the comment box is down here for you, but for me, it's right there. Okay, which one feels like, whoa, that's the one that I needed from today? Hi, Shar, love to you. You, I think, just joined, so you probably haven't seen them all, so you can't comment in yet, but you can go back and watch the replay, and then when you get back to this point, comment in which of these 4 techniques have just made it's just what you needed to hear today, okay? I want to see from you. And those of you who committed to something for the first technique with physical well-being, go ahead and come back to this video next Friday, or come watch me next Friday in the Friday morning show next week and share with me if you accomplished it so I can celebrate you. I want to celebrate you, okay? So go ahead and use me as a resource so that you can keep yourself accountable. Giselle, need to go back and watch the beginning. Yes, go ahead and watch. When you get to this point again, go ahead and just put in which one you were meant to hear today. They're all valuable, but if you focus on one to begin with, that's where you get the most traction. Taylor, asking myself questions about what I believe about spirituality. Awesome. I love that. You're going to have so much fun, and I'm excited to see what comes up for you. Mm-hmm. Oh, I have something else. One more thing while you're commenting those in. I am offering a brand new type of call, which is a complimentary call with me called an empowerment roadmap call. And in this, it's a 30-minute call where you and I get together to look at where you are now, where you desire to be or how you desire to feel, and what's your first step to get there. So we create a bit of a roadmap, and what is step 1 for you to start moving towards that. So I'm going to be offering these over the next couple of weeks. I have a post coming out. I don't know when it's going to come out, probably today or tomorrow. I'm sharing a few specific times that you can hop on one of these calls with me. Watch for that post, get your name and your email in there so that we can have a call together. So we can be doing this, but one-on-one. It's so powerful, okay? So watch for that. Empowerment Roadmap Call, okay? Okay, Susan is number 3, which is mental clarity, which is saying, stop that. I am getting out of judgment and coming back to compassion. Love that. And Marianne, I think physical well-being is important for me right now, but I'm also very interested in the spiritual awakening. Nice. So maybe what you could do is find a way to bring in the spiritual awakening piece with your physical well-being. Yeah? Maybe, maybe not. You can check that out. I love you, ladies. Thank you for joining me. It is honestly just so much fun to be doing this. And you bring so much joy to my life. The work that I do is very meaningful to me, but it's even more meaningful when there's individuals like yourself that are receiving it and participating with it. So thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Happy Friday. I'll talk to you soon.